Okay, I'm going to try not to be long with this, but, we got this new group called Dads for Daughters, and a lot of the brethren on this group are really getting a true opportunity to see who they are as individuals. And a lot of times, as you go through this spiritual transformation, you get to really have your train wreck and see how jacked up of a man that you are. But one of the things I'm very, very excited about is I'm seeing a whole bunch of men finally see who they are spiritually. They're recognizing and realizing the hurts, the ills, the pains, the bitterness, the angers, the fears, all this stuff that has hindered them as being dads and hindered them as being brothers and hindered them as being husbands. They're starting to see it. But the best thing about it is they're starting to do something about it. I'm hearing incredible testimonies about how deliverance is going forward and men. Because again, how can you repent for something when you don't really believe you've done anything wrong? You don't see the error in your way. And now they're starting to be able to see the error in their ways as dads, errors in their ways as husbands, errors in their ways as brothers. Because you can be a simp as a dad or as a husband. And even as a dad, you can be a simp. You could be an enabler as a brother, an enabler as an uncle, an enabler as a father. You know what I mean? These are traits that women have gotten used to over the years in a lot of these men. And see, what we need now is for these women to make sure that they are matching these brothers spiritually when they see this transformation starting to take place. See, women have a responsibility to be meek and quiet in spirit and humble and submissive and obedient. And those are the things that are attractive to a man. Those are the things that are supportive to a man. Those are the things that motivate and inspire men to do what they do. So you got a lot of men that are transitioning spiritually now. They're getting to a point. Remember how the disciples always talked about once you are fully converted, some of these men are finally getting on that road to where they're about to be fully converted spiritually. First that which is natural, then that which is spiritual. So now the women, they're going to have to be able to see that. And instead of matching all that positive, good spiritual energy that these men are having in their transition and their transformation to being truly new creatures, right? They don't need to get resistance. They don't need to get rebellion. They don't need to get the disobedience. They don't need kickback. You know what I mean? What they need is for their wives to see that stuff and start to support them in this thing and start to take away anything that could be hindering them from growing spiritually. Stumbling blocks that have been laid along the line. And it's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of the women because they're used to being coddled and they're used to being enabled and they're used to being able to manipulate their men. But when a man moves from being a simp to being a king, he's not finna be manipulated. When a man stops enabling the women in his life, like the wives or the nieces or the daughters in his life, the women can't have a negative reaction to that and get mad because it's like, well, he ain't doing the things that he used to do for me. No, because he's a man now and he's understanding these spiritual things that are going on. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of things that the women have to show up and do. They have to show up and do these types of things for these men. Match them spiritually and support them. Support them by being obedient, submissive, meek and humble and quiet. And taking away any levels of stumbling blocks that would hinder them. And then making sure they get the deliverance they need themselves. Making sure that they become vulnerable and expose themselves to Yah so they can get the deliverance and get healed. And they can be made whole just like their men are being made whole. The men don't need to get resistance from them or rebellion or disobedience. They need to get support. They need to get the love like it speaks about in 1 Corinthians 13. That's what they need. They don't need to be reminded of who they were when they're nothing like it anymore. They might have been that man yesterday, but because they got that revelation now and it's been revealed to them, now they're different and they need to be treated as such. Same way you would want if you've truly repented in your heart. You don't want to be reminded of what was in the past, even if the past was yesterday. You don't want to be reminded of that because your mindset is different and you're moving forward. So we have to meet that with the same level of spiritual energy. Hope that makes sense. Shalom.